right. Well, I'm happy to be joined by Jena Cogswell, who just recently joined Bell Bank as Senior Vice President and Director of Marketing, with oversight of all marketing functions for Bell Bank and its divisions. So thanks for checking in, Jenna. How are you doing today?
I am doing well.
Good. It sounds like you're back in the office and back at it full speed ahead. So when did you start your new position actually with Bell Bank?
It was about 2.5 weeks ago. I'm looking at this is week 3 for me. So the 14th of June was day one.
Okay. Well, how's it going so far? Just diving right in.
Yes, yeah. As you can imagine, I think anytime you join a new organization, it's kind of like water hose, for the first few weeks. But it's been great, and I'm very excited to be here.
Okay. Well, just maybe we can talk a little bit about Bell Bank. Just reading from the bio here, Bell Bank was founded in 1966 in Fargo, North Dakota. And Bell Bank is one of the nation's largest and fastest growing independent family and employee owned banks with full time banking locations in Minnesota, North Dakota, and Arizona, and more than 10 billion, excuse me, dollars in assets. Can you talk a little bit more, maybe expand on that a little bit and some of the sectors you serve and services you offer here in town?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, Bell is one of the largest privately owned, it's family owned, employee owned banks in the country. And they started in Fargo. They are kind of extending into other markets, Minneapolis, St. Paul, obviously being one of them. Phoenix is another big market. And then they have a large mortgage business that has a national footprint. So, the kind of capabilities, the businesses and the client segments that we cover look a lot like other banks, right? So we have a retail presence and capabilities, wealth management, private banking, insurance, commercial banking, mortgage. So the mix sounds and kind of looks similar to other banks that people are familiar with.
Okay. Um, so can you maybe talk a little bit about some of your specific duties in your new role and any specific initiatives you're focusing on right now?
Yeah, sure. So, the bank has been on this pretty exciting, path as an organization, and the kind of growth trajectory is pretty exciting. So I feel like I've joined an organization at this point in time where we're kind of poised for that next chapter of growth. And so really my job, I think, at the highest level is, we think about kind of our established markets in the central region that we refer to as the central region. So think Fargo, where it was founded, and the success that the bank and the organization more broadly had there. How do we bring that and extend that into some of our newer markets? And I think what I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around and sort out from a marketing perspective is really understanding kind of in these newer markets, the intersection of kind of Bell, our capabilities, the client segments and the customers who we work with, and also that market and the culture that's specific to that market. I think, Bell as an organization has a wonderful story to tell. And the people and the customers who work with Bell as an organization, I think is overwhelmingly positive. And so it's just getting more people to know us at a high level.
Okay. And you've been in a strategic marketing professional with 17 years of experience. Can you talk about some of the other, hit some of the high points of some of that experience and kind of how your career path led here to Bell?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, 17 years and primarily at larger kind of publicly traded corporations, large companies. So I started my career at Goldman Sachs in New York City as a financial analyst in their private wealth management division. And so I spent 7 years there doing a mix of marketing and kind of business management. And I think the thing looking back that was so valuable and kind of during that point in time was just learning about clients and investing. You know, it's private clients, so they're thinking about an investment portfolio, among other things. So, you know, that was a deep dive of learning about investing, and then also being kind of stepping into a large global company. It's a great place to learn about process. It's very institutionalized, structured, deliberate. Sometimes it feels a little cumbersome, but I think when you step back, there's reasons for that. So that's where I started. And from Goldman, I moved over to JP Morgan into their institutional asset management business and focused on marketing strategy there. I spent 7 years kind of on the private client side. I wanted to round out my experience and learn a little bit more about the institutional kind of client segment and the way that they think about allocations, the things that they're solving for, and you know, spend time there. And then after JP Morgan, I moved over to a private equity firm called Providence Equity Partners. It's a sector-focused global private equity firm. And, you know, that was really drilling down on, you know, a smaller universe in terms of client segment, but learning also a lot about some of these private investment opportunities and fundraisers and the nature of that. And again, I think I just consistently kind of look for ways to round out, you know, areas where maybe I hadn't spent as much time. And then, you know, after Providence, I spent 4 years at Principal Financial Group in their asset management business. So PGI, Principal Global Investors profile, like many other global asset managers. But there, I led the product marketing and global insights function within marketing for 4 years. And I think, you know, that was kind of oversight of how we're positioning products across client segments, across markets, as well as how do we build brand awareness through delivering insights. So market insights, investment insights, and, you know, economic and macro insights and stuff of that nature. So, you know, and from there, I ended up at Bell, and, you know, we moved from New York City back to Minneapolis about 4 years ago. And Bell was an organization that I got to know kind of on and off. And what I quickly realized, they have, you know, a wonderful reputation. And on top of it, it's been a really exciting kind of path that the organization's been on in terms of growth. And so I kept my eye on it and kind of hoped that at some point I might find my way to Bell. You know, I just kind of stumbled upon this gem of an organization when we moved back to Minneapolis. And it was exciting to think, you know, hey, I think I could take some of the things I learned at these larger global organizations and maybe apply it to someplace a little bit smaller that's earlier on in their kind of growth trajectory.
Okay. And talking about Bell, we have a lot of our readers and listeners are a lot of folks in construction development, commercial real estate. Do you do much? Do you serve those sectors?
Yep.
at Bell?
Yep. So we have a big commercial banking business, and we certainly specialize in commercial real estate. So we have a spectrum of capabilities within our commercial banking, you know, customer segment. And that is, you know, when you think about these new markets that we're trying to build awareness in and drive growth, commercial banking is a business that is leading that charge for us. So I will be spending a lot of time with the folks and the leaders that are tasked with doing that exact thing.
Okay. And how would you say the landscape of commercial real estate lending has changed since the, I guess, start of the pandemic and during the pandemic? Do you see, I imagine lenders were pretty conservative then. Do you see things starting to loosen up a bit, or where are we headed in commercial real estate lending?
You know, that's probably I've been spending, and obviously this is week 3 here for me. So, but I have spent time with our credit team, right? And understanding the way that we evaluate opportunities, especially when it comes to lending credit on the commercial side. And, you know, we also have customers and clients we work with, on their end from a development perspective. And it's been a tricky landscape, right, over the last year. And I think it's also probably specific to different markets too, right? So what people are thinking about and navigating in Twin Cities versus a Phoenix versus a Fargo, the landscape's a little bit different. But I think broadly, everybody is kind of hoping and poised for having more visibility, right? Because when you talk to our credit team, I can imagine, again, I've only just came here, but when you talk to the people that are evaluating the opportunities, last year was probably trickier to get a ton of visibility, but the volume and the activities there, I think from a bank perspective, it's relying on kind of the process and the way that we evaluate opportunities, and that, continuing to make sure that framework works, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're certainly seeing, of course, it depends on different segments of the commercial real estate market. Some are obviously doing better than others, and so there's, but it seems like things are certainly coming back, certainly on some of the things that are tied in with e-commerce and things of that nature, the distribution centers and so on. So,
Yep.
and we're starting to see people build things again. So,
Yeah. Yep.
um,
Well, and there's probably, from a development and commercial standpoint, there's trends that were present kind of pre-pandemic, and some things have maybe been accelerated, right,
mhm.
because of it. So it'll be interesting to see as we kind of move to the other side of things, how that plays out, across the different markets.
Yeah, absolutely. And residential construction, I should mention, going like gangbusters, apartments and condos.
Yeah.
You see your Bell Bank being active in that particular segment?
Well, I think, Bell Bank is a big mortgage business, right? So you look at the volume of mortgages done, not even here, but just kind of broadly, and you're seeing the headlines too on residential kind of real estate and building, and you're seeing a lot of headlines around supply chain issues and the cost to do these things. So it's such an interesting time in terms of residential. And again, too, the how that's also highly local too. But one thing I think, whether you're in Minneapolis or Phoenix, the activity is kind of at all-time highs, right? And the pricing power, the supply demand dynamic too. People are paying a lot to buy and build homes.
Yeah, for sure. Um, well, let's talk a little bit about you've been a star soccer player for a number of years. Gotta put in a mention of that. You were, I understand, grew up here in the Twin Cities, and attended Mahtomedi High School. Is that right?
Yep, Mahtomedi Zephyrs.
Played soccer there. Went on to star with the University of North Carolina, captain of the team. I believe you won a national championship there, if I'm not mistaken, and then went on to the U.S. national team. Is that right?
Yeah, yep.
So, what was that journey like?
Yeah, it's starting to feel like a lifetime ago. But that journey, I think, had so much influence on kind of where I am today. So, I started out just like a young kid who loved to play soccer. And I think the thing that I kind of realized at a young age, and when there's a lot of things I didn't realize, but I figured, if I can do something really well, right, and differentiate myself and work hard, there's going to be opportunities, right? Whether it's making another team, going to college, earning a scholarship, progressing, right, and succeeding. And that journey, there are so many things and skills kind of you develop that transcend, a soccer field or whatever you're playing on, basketball court, a football field, a soccer field. So I'm incredibly grateful to kind of the opportunities that I had kind of in youth and college and after college playing soccer. And it, the one of the hardest decisions I had to make was I was playing professionally in Boston after college, and on and off with the U.S. women's national team, and the league folded that I was playing in. So I had to decide, do I continue playing soccer or do I do something else? And I think that what I struggled with was, if I walk away from soccer, because I'm living the dream right now, I'm basically getting paid to do what I love. And I'm challenged, and I feel like I'm, growing, even though it's kind of a narrow and deep, thing that I'm doing. If I do leave, I have to find something that's equally kind of as challenging, as exciting, where I'm going to be pushed. And so that, when I got an opportunity to move to New York, and a spot opened up in an analyst program, I stopped and I said, this could be the thing. And as sad as I was to kind of hang up my soccer cleats, and I kept playing for a long time in New York, I am glad that I made that decision, because I think it's just rounded me out kind of as a person, and it started the next chapter of my life, and a second education, right? And I think the approach that I applied to soccer, I apply it in life. It's kind of the stuff that transcends, into all areas of your life. And I think I'm taking the same approach, and now I'm sitting here in an organization that I'm so, proud to be a part of, and feel lucky that I'm here getting to do what I get to do. So that's the soccer angle.
Yeah, right. Well, did you have opportunities to play professionally in Europe at any point, or did you consider that?
Yeah. Yep. So I played when I was playing in Boston, and that was the first iteration of the women's professional league. It was the WUSA. I played for the Breakers, and my coach, the final season there, was Pia Sundhage, and so she ended up being the head coach of the U.S. women's national team. She's a legend in Sweden, and that's what a lot of my teammates did. There were opportunities to go and play in Europe. There are opportunities to play in Japan, but the leagues were not what what they were then were not what they are today, right? And it's been so fun to see the evolution of these leagues, not only in the US, but in Europe and in other places as well. The opportunity for women to play and continue to grow kind of in a professional career like that it's awesome. And it was fun to be there early on, seeing, the women fighting, for things along the way to get from there to here. It's awesome. It's great.
So we're talking 20 years ago, kind of in that time frame.
Yep. Yeah. So a little under 20 years ago, which, now I have young kids and they're playing soccer, and
Okay.
That's my soccer game today is kicking around the backyard with my 3 kids.
Do you still are you still involved? Do you coach or anything?
I've coached and I've kind of volunteered to coach, along the way here and there. I did that in New York for a little while. I jump in with my kids, teams now, but it's funny. I don't know if I have the patience to be a a coach. I enjoy being a soccer parent and watching and kind of coaching from that perspective. I love it. I love watching these kids get out there and play.
Yeah, that's a blast. Well, I have 3 daughters, but my youngest, my son, is just going into 6th grade, and he's just getting into Little League baseball now, and that's just a blast watching him play. And I think I get more nervous than he does when he goes up to bat, but
Yeah.
it's fun. So, but well, it's been great chatting with you, Jenna. Anything else you'd like to say before I let you go? Just about your kind of your new job, or your outlook
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
it?
no, again, I'm excited to be, back. In the Twin Cities. Um, you know, Valve's a place that has always kind of prioritized their people and its culture, and it's led to pretty phenomenal results. So I just feel lucky to be here, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Okay, well, great. Well, good luck with that, and hopefully we can stay in touch, and we'll have to talk again in the future.
Yeah, no, that sounds wonderful. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.